Good evening. I'm Shepard Smith on CNBC, and this is the news. And right now on a brand new newscast, we'd normally play the best sound and video from the debate, right? That's the lead, the back and forth from the president and the man who wants to replace him. And then we show and tell you what else we face as a nation, because there's a lot. That produced open, as we call it. About a minute, it's fast, there's music, it's compelling and rich with emotion, and that was our plan. That's what we'll usually do, but as it turns out, in this moment, that's just the noise. You've heard it, and we need to cut through it. You've told us what you think about the debate. We have CNBC overnight polls just in, and we'll share. Truth is, there's never been such a thing as last night. A first official introduction of the two candidates from the Committee on Presidential Debates follows rules. It's dignified, democratic, structured, American. Not last night. That debate cannot be measured by traditional X's and O's, regardless of how you'll vote. We will endeavor this hour to draw distinctions between the two candidates on the issues: COVID, the economy, racial injustice, social unrest, governance, education, and so much more. We'll do that as best we can based on what last night's event offered up. But let's mark this moment. Last night, the president called into question the heart of our democracy, the peaceful transition of power. Is there assurance that it'll happen? Asked to give it, the president declined and openly sowed the seeds of distrust in the outcome. If there's no clear winner on election night, what's the process? What does the Constitution say? We'll report on that. And our presidential historian will offer clarity, perspective. In the debate, the president told a group of white supremacists, some of whom stood by those in Charlottesville with their torches, to stand back and stand by. Joe Biden declared the duly elected president of the United States unfit to lead, called him a racist, a liar, a clown, and told him to shut up. We've never seen any of this, not in America. But from this, we march toward the vote. And tonight, we'll lay out the facts to the best of our ability in context and with perspective. First up, election integrity and where we stand. Every indication is there has been no widespread voter fraud, not in America. And there's nothing to indicate there may be a problem this time. So says the FBI director himself. But here's the president. What about cyber threats? How real and how worried?
You know, that is one area where election observers say there are some concerns going into this election, particularly on the area of ransomware. Now, that's when a hacker reaches in and steals the data out of a company or a government database and doesn't give it up until they get paid a bribe. That's one area that observers are concerned about. The other one is social media hacking, when hackers steal the accounts of high-profile people and post tweets or things on Facebook that make it look like something is happening that's not really actually happening. That could sow some confusion on Election Day, and officials say they're on the lookout for both of those, Shep.
Eamon Javers, live tonight. In the end, what you think, what you decide is what matters. That's it. You told us what's most important. We'll drill down on those issues in our scientific poll results. Did anything change after last night for you? You gave us answers, but first we asked, was the debate useful? Should there be more? 55% said yes, bring it on. But we also asked, did watching the presidential debate make you feel proud to be an American? 77% said no. The rest of the polls, as the first, the news, rolls on in 60 seconds.
The facts, the truth, the news with Shepard Smith. Back in 60 seconds.
The presidential debate was chaotic, no doubt, so much so that the nonprofit group that runs the debates announced this afternoon it will be changing the rules going forward to ensure more orderly discussions, as it put it. The next debate is scheduled to have a town hall format in 2 weeks. Despite it all, the candidates did get to the issues, and we're going to focus on the ones you've told us matter the most in our CNBC Change Research poll. First up, COVID-19. We'll hear from both candidates and then from you. It was a bit of a dogfight. We did hear some scientific polling around here of likely voters nationwide on this subject, and we asked, If the debate, or after the debate, who do you believe would do a better job keeping us all safe from COVID-19? 56% of those surveyed said Joe Biden, 44% said President Trump. Let's dig into those numbers. Who cares the most and where are they? NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki is with us, diving into that data. Steve, on COVID, what'd you find?
Yeah, what's really interesting, Shep, I think on this question is voters over 65, senior citizens, when you ask them that question, who do you think would keep us safe better? Look at that. Almost 2/3 there say Biden and not Trump. One of the stories of this election, Trump won senior citizens big in 2016. He trails with them this year. This might be one of the big reasons why.
Well, Steve, next issue, candidates debated the Supreme Court. Who should get to choose the next nominee? Listen here.
And you could just see the importance of Michigan, Shep. You just look at the electoral map right here. This is where it was in 2016. If Biden were to get Michigan, puts him at 248. If he were to get Pennsylvania as well, where the polls look similar, just those two states, he would be on the cusp of victory. Trump has a lot of slippage we're seeing in the polls in the Midwest. He's got to shore that up somehow, or the electoral math gets very difficult for him.
Steve Kornacki, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. This was fun.
Thank you. We'll have you back often.
Appreciate it.
Two more polling questions ahead, and they're big ones. Listen now. Did the debate change your mind? And another one, who did a better job? The answers are very interesting, and they're coming up later in this news hour. Now, COVID watch. Cases are surging, doctors are warning, and the months ahead may test our nation and the world. It's getting worse, not better. Cases surging in half the states. Kids back to school and restaurants reopening. But is it safe? State of emergency, state of despair. California's wildfires growing and fire fatigue sets in. And look at this, an epic high-speed drug bust on the high seas.
The facts, the truth, the news with Shepard Smith, right here on CNBC.
Stocks rally to close out the month and the quarter. Strong economic data helping there. And that's what's on the money tonight. Boeing 737 MAX was back in the air, but just for a test flight. Grounded for 18 months after multiple fatal crashes. The head of the FAA himself in the cockpit. Part of a promise to fly the jet before it's cleared for the rest of us. His take? I liked what I saw. No agreement on a relief deal for Americans. The Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says that and the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi met today, both publicly saying they made progress, but according to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, they are, quote, very, very far apart. And lots of Americans losing their jobs in the past 24 hours. Disney laid off almost 30,000 employees. Shell, Dow, and Marathon Petroleum shed thousands as well. Tomorrow, the major airlines could announce more cuts to their workforces. On Wall Street, the Dow closed up 329, the S&P and the NASDAQ up less than 1%. It's 7:30 at CNBC Global Headquarters. It's the bottom of the hour. Time for the top of the news, and COVID is surging again. 26 states seeing a double-digit rise in new cases. 26 states. That's from Johns Hopkins. More than a third of those states are in the Midwest, a new hotspot for cases and hospitalizations. North Dakota local news reporting only 22 ICU beds are left in the entire state. And in Wisconsin, more people died of COVID-19 yesterday than on any day since the month of May. The number of people hospitalized at an all-time high. That's according to that state's Department of Health. The governor calling the spread unprecedented and near exponential. NBC's Jay Gray is on the top story at the bottom of the hour, live in Green Bay. Jay, you were one of those overcrowded hospitals. You saw it today. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Shep, this hospital stretched to its limits right now, over 100% capacity, and with more COVID patients than they've had at any time during the pandemic. And a very real concern, things are going to get worse here.
Dr. Gottlieb, thank you for the guidance. Appreciate it. Folks in California are told, stay on alert. The fires again, more evacuations as high winds fueled the worst fire season in state history. We're live in Calistoga, where tonight crews are keeping a very close eye on a fire burning there. And 2 Los Angeles police officers shot sitting in their patrol car now after a lengthy manhunt and arrest.
The facts, the truth, the news with Shepard Smith. Back in 90 seconds.
California wildfires forcing thousands of families out of their homes. Today, fire officials issuing a new evacuation order in Napa County, north of San Francisco. Plain and simple, people told to get out. This is the worst fire season ever recorded in California. Take a look at this map. Fires are really burning up and down that state. And right now, in wine country, the grim facts from fire officials: at least close to 50,000 people forced to evacuate. 80 homes and buildings burned straight to the ground. More than 22,000 structures still under threat. Close to 50,000 acres turned to ash. And the weather, it's not helping. And these are people, not just property. NBC's Miguel Almaguer is in Napa Valley tonight. Tell me what you've seen tonight, Miguel.
Well, Shep, it's really difficult to wrap your head around the destruction here. We're seeing scenes like this play out all across Napa Valley. We're here in Calistoga and in nearby Napa. This is just one winery that's been destroyed. More than a dozen have been either hit by fire. In terms of properties, we're talking well over 200 properties that have been destroyed. That's just the official count. That number is certain to grow in the days ahead. Firefighters are still battling multiple blazes. They're concerned about 2 major wildfires that are threatening Napa Valley and the Sonoma Valley, obviously the heart of wine country here in Northern California. Officials are doing all they can to beat back the flames, but that pesky weather, the hot temperatures and powerful whipping winds are expected to kick back up over the next couple of days, so they'll have their work cut out for them tonight. Tens of thousands of people have been forced from their homes. Upwards of 20,000 homes remain in jeopardy of burning down, Shep.
Miguel Almaguer live for us. Thank you. A scare on the space station, and Meghan Markle suffers a setback as we go round the world in 80 seconds. United Kingdom, a royal loss. London's High Court ruling against Meghan Markle in her case involving the British tabloid The Mail on Sunday. Markle sued over articles printed, including parts of a handwritten letter she sent to her estranged father. The tabloid arguing the Duchess had intended some private details to become public. Earlier this year, the couple announced they were quitting royal duties and moving to North America. France, the government's not clowning around. France is banning these wild animals in circuses and marine parks within the next few years. From lions to dolphins, nearly 400,000 people in the country signed a petition to get a referendum on animals. Spain, crime doesn't pay on land or out at sea. Check out this high-speed boat chasing down a luxury yacht full of marijuana. Spanish police arresting 9 drug smugglers and seizing more than 38 tons of hash. They say it's their largest drug bust ever on the high seas. Outer space. Houston, we don't have a problem. The International Space Station detected a growing air leak. But after searching for several weeks, they successfully traced the source of the problem. These astronauts can now breathe a sigh of relief as they go around the world in 80 seconds. Well, like a lot of places, COVID-19 dealt Vegas a heck of a blow. The Strip shut down and their new football stadium just sitting there empty. But there's hope in Sin City. CNBC's Jane Wells is there. A casino is reopening. What?
Shep, you can't keep Sin City down. You know, despite an economic fallout, you got 0 conventions, 0 shows. You got that football stadium with 0 fans. But coming up, we talk to everybody from cabbies to Elvis as the Strip tries to put the Viva back into Las Vegas.
24 hours in the day, but even
Las Vegas. Crowds of tourists and gamblers are the lifeblood of Sin City. So when the pandemic hit, it crippled the economy, left the locals in a world of hurt. But the city is trying to stage a comeback in the age of COVID. CNBC's Jane Wells now from Vegas.
The strongest force. The force is strong with that couple. And I haven't even been drinking yet. That'll come later. Okay, one hopeful sign. The Park MGM, which has been closed since March, reopened today. New numbers show that while August tourism was down 57% compared to a year ago. That's a little better than it was in July. But, Shep, this is a city that runs on conventions. They haven't had any since March. They're not planning to have any until maybe the end of January, but that will be a big one. The world of concrete. Back to you.
Positivity rate, though, Jane, it's up around 80%. They got to be a little bit concerned.
Yeah, we're talking about 7.8%. They are, but the tourists aren't. Those who are actually coming here are not. Masks are everywhere. The casinos take your temperature. And I would say there are as many hand sanitation stations as there are slot machines.
Jane, great to see you. It's been a while.
Yep.
Jane,
yeah, good to see you, my friend.
Jane Wells live in Vegas. A coronavirus outbreak dealing the first real blow to the NFL season. The league postponing Sunday's game between the Steelers and the Titans. Titans suspended in-person activities completely yesterday. 3 players, 5 employees tested positive, and today a 4th player positive. The league moving the game to Monday or Tuesday, they hope, so there's time for more testing. Players are not in a bubble in the NFL like those in the NBA and the NHL. And Major League Baseball announced the World Series will have in-person fans. They've been keeping stadiums empty. More than 11,000 people will get to attend the NLCS and the World Series in Arlington, Texas. Let's go Yanks! Who won the debate last night? You have spoken, and the results are not even close. The answer to that question from our CNBC polling plus headlines as we head into prime time. That's next. Promise more polling data from the debate, and here it is from our CNBC Change Research poll. They did the debate. Change your vote. Your answer here, 2%. Did the debate change your vote? 2% say yes. The debate changed my mind. 98% say no. That's how set voters are with their preference. And at the end of the day, no matter how you plan to vote, who did a better job? 53% say former Vice President Joe Biden. 29% say President Trump. Biden wins in our poll by a 24-point spread. 2 minutes to prime time, and here's what's topping the news at this hour. The commission that organizes presidential debates promising to make some changes after last night. A source close to the commission tells NBC News they're considering the ability to cut off a candidate's mic when they interrupt and break the rules. No deal, at least not yet, on a coronavirus relief. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin meeting face-to-face for the first time in 2 weeks to negotiate. At least 4 people now confirmed dead as wildfires devastate parts of Napa Valley. Unseasonably hot and dry weather and powerful winds have been whipping up the flames. And that's the news from CNBC. It's great to be back. So much has changed since I took a break. Foremost, racial injustice and social unrest have escalated, and the worldwide pandemic has rocked us. It's altered our lives, stressed our families, ravaged our communities, killed our loved ones, and changed the course of human events. Misinformation, disinformation impede our ability to recover. Income inequality makes recovery for some much harder. Here each night, we'll cover these issues through journalists and experts, not opinions and pundits, as we approach the vote. Our nation is divided, 2 sides. Fears and dreams deserve thoughtful, honest reporting without favor or fear. Our mission is to deliver the facts in context and with perspective. Soon we'll be with you from our new state-of-the-art studio. It's coming together just as we have for the news. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow. Shark Tank is next on CNBC.